Hello, folks, and welcome back to Three Hits with Rosey. What a wicked NHL hockey game we had tonight with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. I mean, for some reason, that one just had old school intensity and nail biting, and you didn't know what you were going to get. It was all over the place. I mean, guys were blowing each other up. There were goals being scored. By no means did the Leafs take over and dominate that game, but they ended up winning. They were behind the eight ball for the majority of the game. Refs are calling stuff left, right, and center. Coaches are losing their minds. Guys are scrumming. Bunting's in there. Guys are on Matthews, blowing into the goalie. Everything you could ask for, we saw it, and I loved it. And you know what? It's about time, because I'm tired of the normal dissection of NHL games where you're sitting there and you're kind of like, yeah, well, we had a net positive offensive zone possession time, and also our shots were at a 62% rate, and it's just like, neat. That's so fun. That's so exciting. You know, it's not always this exciting, and I like to see an old school hockey game where there's scrums and there's fireworks and guys are into it and guys are, unexpectedly losing their minds and doing this, and it's just, you get there and you're sitting there with your buddies watching an NHL hockey game and you're excited and you're talking about it, and it's a great game to watch, and it was nice to see that for a change. Number 2, I'm talking about Radko Gudas. Speaking of which, I'm all for the big hits and for the Donnybrooks and the scrums and the banging and the crashing, but when you got a guy lined up in open ice and you submarine for, that's what I'm asking. Why would you submarine? You got a guy lined up. The best thing in the world that you can feel, in my opinion, is putting your shoulder right through a guy's chest. He goes down, he's looking up at the rafters, you're standing over top of him, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's a beautiful feeling, and that's what Radko Gudas is very good at. I've played against him. He's tried to stand me up in the neutral zone before. I've felt that he is a brick shithouse. This guy has no reason to be submarining a guy and blowing him up like that. It's not a skill. It's not something to be proud of. My 9-year-old son, every single time, could do that to me and send me ass over tea kettle, and every time, what is there, a 20% chance you're going to blow a guy's knee up, MCL, ACL, meniscus, blow up his kneecap. Real fun. That's not what this guy needs to be doing. Gudas is a good enough open ice hitter. He's one of the better ones playing right now. Him and McNabb, I'm not putting them in the Scott Stevens or Cronwall or Phaneuf type of conversation by any stretch, but in this day and age, he's one of the best open ice hitters there are, and there's absolutely no reason for him to be submarining. There's no other thing to say. You submarine a guy and blow up his lower half and he goes flying over your back when you already have him lined up and you could just bury him and stand him up like a man. That's what he should be doing, and it pisses me off to see that, because some guys applaud it, and it's not a hip check. A hip check is Rob Blake, having a guy come wide on him and he goes ass first up against the boards and the guy goes flying, and he says, that's not how you're getting around me, because he's a defenseman skating backwards and you take him out that way. That's great. Open ice hit, when a guy feels you're coming on him, even if you're catching him in the trolley tracks, he feels you're coming, he's going to start bracing for a hit at the last quarter of a second, and you submarine his lower half and you go flying. That's garbage, and it's dangerous, and there's no reason for it. And good on Zach Austin Reese for coming up to him, shedding his mitts and starting to chuck at him, and it's embarrassing times 2 for Radko Gudas that he decided to turtle instead of standing up to the bell, because he knows from playing in this league for, what has he been playing for, a decade now in the NHL? You submarine a guy like that and send him ass over tea kettle, you know goddamn well it's going to cause a melee from the other team, and he should have been there at least to save face and shed his mitts and scrap a little bit. Last thing I got to say is the Leafs goaltending right now. Yes, Matt Murray got pulled tonight. Samsonov came in and did a solid job. People keep asking me, what's your level of concern of the Toronto Maple Leafs right now goaltending situation? It's like, there is no level of concern. This is hockey. These guys have been giving you a 9-4 percentage, both of them, all season long. They've been racking up the points for you. We're second or so in the NHL all year long. There's no level of concern. These guys have been playing solid. They're grinding and they're wearing down. If he has a night off, are you telling me our level of concern? This is exactly what makes it hard to be a goalie in Toronto, is people sounding the alarm bells every time you have an off night. The great thing about this tandem is that if someone does have an off night, guess what you got coming in behind you? A rock-solid guy who can come in and get you the win. How often does a team get a win when you pull your goalie? Not very often. The Maple Leafs just accomplished that. And the next time someone has an off night, it very well could be Samsonov, and guess who's going to be coming in to bail him out after? Matt Murray will, and I guarantee you he'll shut the door just the same as as it happened tonight. I am not concerned about their goaltending at all. I would like them to do better. I would like them to have a 9-7 percentage all year long, but this is reality, and you got to take what you get, and these things happen. My level of concern is not very high. Send it back to you, Nikolai Alberga.